Welcome, Rabbi Say, to a Chazara Shiur on Mishnah Tes. Yes, indeed, we are getting close to the end of the parak. We are going to Chazar Mishnah Tes, Sugya Lamed Ches and Sugya Lamed Tes, which is Mishnah to Mishnah. It's a half Amud. And when we finish this Chazara Shiur, we are going to be holding one daf away from the end of the parak, which is very, very exciting. So let's go right ahead. Mishnah Tes. Mishnah Tes discusses when a mafkid deposits money by his friend. Okay? Now in all the cases we're going to be talking about a shomer chinam. He's not getting paid to watch it. So just remember that. Take note of that. So now, what's in question is the shomer allowed to use the money? Because cash usually is meant for spending. You spend a dollar. You don't actually need that specific bill or coin. You know, a dollar comes around, goes around, comes back, people use money. So is the shomer allowed to use the money? In the case that we're going to give, is the shomer going to be able to use the cash and then put it back? So the first case that we're going to be talking about is a shulchani. A shulchani is someone who exchanges money rate, exchange rates, and so on and so forth. He stands in the market in front of his table. That's why he's called a shulchani, from the word shulchan. He stands in front of his table, not like everyone else who stands behind their table. He stands in front, because he doesn't want anyone to take the money from his table. So he stands in front to protect, and he exchanges money, especially in those days. It was very important when they had gold coins, silver coins, they actually had value. It was a very important job. A shulchani is a money exchanger. Okay, so if the mafkid, so the first case of the Mishnah is if the mafkid gives money to a shulchani to watch. So remember what a shulchani is, a money exchanger. So now, depends if it's tied up, then says the Mishnah, he should not use it. And therefore, he has a status of a shomer chinam, and if it's lost, he's going to be potter. And if it was untied, then he's allowed to use it. The shulchani is allowed to use it, and therefore, he's not like a shomer chinam. We expect from him to be more careful. His rank of a shomer goes up, and now he's going to be chayiv even if it's lost. If it's lost, he's going to be chayiv. That is the first case of the Mishnah. Comes the second case. What about a balabais? Someone who owns a house, you're giving to him in his house, not in his business. Then it doesn't matter if it's tied up or untied. The din is he should never use it. And therefore, he's like a shomer chinam. If it's lost, he's going to be potter. Third case in the Mishnah. What about a storekeeper? So a storekeeper does sometimes use money for change. He has a cash register, right? So he does sometimes need it. So that will be a machlokes between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir says a chenvani is like a balabais. A storekeeper is just like a balabais. You should never touch it. According to Rabbi Yehuda, however, a chenvani is like a shulchani. That he's allowed to use it if it's untied. If it's tied, he shouldn't use it. That is the whole Mishnah. So let's open up our Gemara to Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, and let's learn inside our Gemara. Let's learn from the top of it, but let's get it up on the board. But open up a real Gemara also and say it with us. Let your whole body get involved in learning of the Eibishter's Torah. Here we are at the top of the page, Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. Hamafkid moitzet al shulchani, one who deposits money by a money exchanger, by a shulchani. Imtzern, if they're tied up, lo yishtamish behen, he shouldn't use them. Lefichach, therefore, im avdu, if they were lost, einay chayev b'achriyus, and he's not chayev in their responsibility, because he's like a shomer chinam. Mutarin, if they are untied, yishtamish behen, he's allowed to use them. Lefichach, therefore, im avdu, if they were lost, then he needs to be more responsible, and chayev b'achriyus, and he's chayev in their responsibility. Next case, Eitzel balabais. What's if he deposited by a balabais? Bein tzrurin uvein mutarin. Both if they're tied up and both if they're not tied up. Lo yishtamish behen, he shouldn't use them. A balabais should never use them. He should put it in his drawer and that's it. Lefichach, therefore, im avdu, if they were lost, einay chayav b'achrayus, and you're not responsible in their achrayus. You're not chayav in their responsibility. Chenvani, third case now. Chenvani, what about a storekeeper? Zok the Gemara, kabalabais is just like a balabais. You should never use it. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says, chenvani kishulchani. A chenvani is, a storekeeper is just like a banker. If it's untied, then he's allowed to use it. And this is such a straightforward Mishnah. There is no Rashis on this Mishnah. So let's go right ahead to Sugya Lamed Ches. And our Sugya focuses on the part of the Mishnah that if it's tied up, he should not use it. So if a shulchani gets money that's tied up, he should not use it. Frag the Gemara. Tying it up indicates not to use it. And now she explains. Everyone ties up their money. And when people give money to a shulchani, they know the shulchani always needs cash and he's going to use it. So what indication is there over here? What are you showing? What is the mafkid showing by tying it up? He's not showing anything. So why shouldn't the shulchani use it? Like what does tying it up show? Doesn't show me anything, right? Everyone ties up their money and they don't mind that the shulchani uses it. So why if you tie it up, should he not use it? And for the Gemara, we're talking about a specific case that Rav Asi bar Amar Rav Yehuda said that he tied it up and sealed it. So that indicates, that tells the shulchani, don't touch it, don't use it. Second answer, Rav Mari says he actually tied it with a unique knot, which that's the indication. Shulchani, I don't want you using it. I want to get it back and see that was still tied with the same unique knot. A second version, a whole nother version to what Rav Mari said. Some people say that Rav Mari said something totally different. What did he say? He actually asked a shaila. He asked a question on the answer that we just gave on the Mishnah, right? That if the mafkid gave it tied up, and it was sealed, right? Tied up, then the shulchani shouldn't use it. So frek Rav Mari. Some people say that this is what Rav Mari said. Rav Mari asked the question: what would be the din if he tied it up with a interesting knot? What would be the din? Is the shulchani allowed to use it? And the answer was teiku. The question remains standing. There's no answer. So two totally different versions of what Rav Mari said. Some people said Rav Mari said it as an answer. Some people said actually Rav Mari asked a question and there was no answer. Let's learn this shtickle Gemara inside the Gemara. Right by the beginning of the Gemara, frag the Gemara, mishum d'tzrurin, because they're tied up, lo yishtamish b'hem, he shouldn't use them. Why? And there's one Rashi on this shtickle Gemara, and it's on this piece, so we're going to learn it right away. Second line of the page of Rashi, mishum d'tzrurin lo yishtamish b'hem, because they're tied up, he shouldn't use them. Zakt Rashi, bitmiya, with a wonder. You're supposed to read this with a tone of a wonder. Question mark, exclamation mark. Bitmiya, with a wonder. Uma gilui das, yes can. And what thought is he revealing over here? Ma gilui das, what revelation of thought, yeshkan, is there over here? Some Gemaras don't have the words yeshkan. She'ein chafetz, that the mafkid doesn't want, she'ishtamish b'hem, they should use it, that the shulchani should use it. Where do we see over here? Since when does the mafkid not want the shulchani to use it? Where is he indicating that? Me'achar, after the fact, she'im hei mutarin, if they're untied, ka'amart, yudachsei, you say in the Mishnah, yishtamish b'hem, that the shulchani is allowed to use it. The hamafki, that's why, because someone who deposits by him, Yedea knows, sho tzarich tadir, that he constantly needs lemois, money. So if someone gives the shulchani money and knows that he's going to use it, tzururinami, also if it's tied up, yishtamish, let the shulchani use it. Why? The derech kol adam, because everyone, the way of everyone, latzur ma'asav, is to tie up his money. Everyone ties up the money and everyone gives it to the shulchani, and everyone knows that the shulchani is going to use it and replace it, of course. But everyone knows it. So just because it's tied up, the shulchani shouldn't use it. Why not? And for the Gemara, let's go back inside the Gemara. And for the Gemara, Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav Yehuda, Rav Asi said in the name of Rav Yehuda, Bitzrurin v'chasumin, when they're tied up and they are sealed, Shanu, it was learned. Our Mishnah was learned in a case that he not just tied it up, he tied it up and sealed it. Second answer, Rav Mari Amar, Rav Mari said, B'kashem Mishnah, when he tied it with a unique knot, that's the indication, no, don't touch it, don't use it. Ikadamri, there are some who say, another version, Boy Rav Mari asked, Kashem Mishnah, unique knot, a different knot, what would be the din? Is that an indication that the shulchani shouldn't use it? And the answer to that is teiku. The question remains standing. And with that we conclude Sugya Lamed Ches. And let's go straight away to Sugya Lamed Tes. Here we go. Okay. So before we get to Sugya Lamed Tes, let's give an introduction what we're going to be discussing. We're going to be discussing is what shomer status does the shulchani have, right? In the case that it's untied and the shulchani is able to use it, What shomer status, what kind of shomer is he? Okay? When does the Shulchani, who uses it, when does he become a shoyl? Right? So, because you have the timeline from when the Shulchani got it, he started using it, and then he gave it back. Right? When does he become a shoyl? Is he a shoyl the whole time, even as soon as he got it? Or is he a shoyl only once he started using it? That's what our Gemara is going to be discussing. Okay? What status, what shomer status does this chenvani have, and when does he become a shoyl? That's what our Gemara is going to be discussing. So, Zogt Rav Huna says that if a shulchani gets untied money and he's able to use it, he is considered a shoyl the entire time from the beginning because he's able to use it, and therefore he's going to be chayiv, he's going to be responsible, even if it had a something uncontrollable. He's going to be on the level of a shoyl, that if a oinus happens, something uncontrollable, he's going to be chayiv. Frag the Gemara on the spot, what? You're telling me that the shoyl is going, that the shulchani is going to be chayiv even on a oinus? The Mishnah says clearly that he's only chayiv if it was lost. That means if it was lost, he's responsible. But if it's uncontrollable, oinus, he's going to be pater. Okay, which this is a status of a shemer sachar. The Mishnah himself puts him on a status of a shemer sachar, that a shemer sachar is responsible when it's lost. So how could you say that even if it's uncontrollable, you're going to be responsible? You're only responsible if it was lost, which is a lower rank of shmirah, right? A lower level of responsibility. So how could Rav Huna say that even if it's uncontrollable, you're going to be responsible? And for the Gemara, you could say like what Rabbah said. Rabbah explained on a different Mishnah in the next parak. The Mishnah said in the next parak, Nignavu avdu, if it was stolen or it was lost. And Rabbah explained that Mishnah, though really, what does it mean? Nignavu means it was stolen with armed robbers, so that's oinus. And avdu means it was lost, but it was lost in ship sinking, which is uncontrollable. So the same way Rabbah explained the Mishnah over there next parak, that Nignavu avdu is oinus really. We can also understand our Mishnah, that also when our Mishnah says avdu, that if the shulchani has untied money and then it was lost, he's going to be chayav. What kind of loss are we talking about? A oinus type of loss. That even if it's uncontrollable, the shulchani is going to be chayav. So so now it goes very well according to Rav Huna that even if something uncontrollable happens, he's going to be chayav. The Mishnah says avdu. The Mishnah is talking about a oinus kind of avdu. That even a oinus kind of avdu, even if something uncontrollable kind of avdu, you're still going to be chayav. On the other hand, Rav Nachman says that if a shulchani receives untied money, then he's allowed to use it, but he is not a shoyl right away. He's only a shoyl once he starts using it. He's not a shoyl right away. Frekt Rava to Rav Nachman, and therefore before the kasha. And therefore, as the Mishnah says, if it's lost, he's going to be chayiv. But if it's a oines loy, nansu loy, if it was a oines, no, he's going to be pater. He's not the level of a shoyl. Okay? Frag the Gemara, frag the Rava to Rav Nachman. You're telling me that he's not a shoyl. Okay, fine, he's not a shoyl. But again, he's not a shemer sachar because he's not getting paid to watch it. So if so, why is he chayiv if it was lost? Why is the Mishnah making him like a shemer sachar? He's not getting paid and he's not like a shoyl. So why is he chayiv over here? Why is he chayiv if it got lost? And for Rav Nachman to Rava, no, I'll admit to you that actually, in the beginning part, before he used it, he is actually a shemer sachar. Why? Why is he a shemer sachar? What benefit is he getting? What reward is he getting? He's getting a benefit of being able to use it. From the fact that since a shulchani always needs money, so now he's getting a benefit by the fact that he's able to use it. That already gives him reward, and therefore he's going to give he's going to give benefit to the mafkid, to the owner, meaning he's going to watch it better. And for the rest of the time, once he uses it, then he's going to be a shoyl. But in the beginning, no, he's a shemer sachar. Let's learn that first. This is the first, and this concludes the first chelek of sugya lamatas. Let's learn it inside the Gemara. Oibin in the Mishnah learned. Earlier in the Mishnah we learned mutarin, if they are untied, yishtamish ben, you're allowed to use it, chulu, etc. Zok the Gemara, Rav Huna said, that the Shulchani has the status of a shoyl right away. And he's going to be responsible, va'afilu nansu, even if a oinus happens. Frag the Gemara right away, v'ha and dach avdu katani. It says in the Mishnah he's only going to be chayiv if it was lost, not if it's uncontrollable. And for the Gemara, kidder Rabba, I can answer you just like what Rabba said. The Amar Rabba, because Rabba explained a Mishnah later in the next parak. Nignavu, if it was stolen, what does that mean? When it says Nignavu in the Mishnah, what does it mean? Balista mizuyanim, with armed robbers. Avdu, if it was lost, what does that really mean? Shatava sfinasa bayam, Shatava that it sunk sfinasa his boat bayam in the sea. So really, it doesn't mean lost, it means like an oinus type of lost. So I could say the same thing over here in our Mishnah, that when the Mishnah says that if it was lost, avdu, he's going to be chayiv. Really, what does it mean? That if an oinus kind of lost, even though it's an oinus, even though it's uncontrollable, you're going to be chayiv. Now, next opinion, Rav Nachman Amar, and Rav Nachman says, then that this shulchani does not become a shoyl right away. And if a oinus happens, nansu loy. If oinus happens, he's not going to be chayiv. He's not considered a shoyl. Frag the Gemara, Amar le Rava Rav Nachman. Rava said to Rav Nachman, Lididach, according to you, the Amart that you say, nansu loy, that this shulchani is not considered a shoyl, and he's not responsible on a oinus. He's not going to be chayiv by oinus. Alma, we see from here, lo yav a shoyl alayhu. He's not considered a shoyl on it. I shoyl lo yahava, and if he's not a shoyl, shemer sacher nami lo yahava. He's also not a shemer sacher. So if so, why is he going to be chayiv if it's lost? He's not a shoyl. He's not a shemer sacher. What is he, a shemer chinam? So why is he chayiv if it gets lost? And for the Gemara, Omar Lei, so he said to him, Rav Nachman answered to Rava, Beha, in this, Moedin alacha, I admit to you. I agree to you in this. The hoyel, the nana, that since he is benefiting, since the shulchani is benefiting by the fact that he's able to use it, Mahana, he is also going to give benefit. As Rashi explains, he's going to give benefit to the owners, and he's going to watch it better. Behahu, what benefit does he get? Behahu, I know, with that benefit, that if Misrami Leia comes up for him, Zvina, a sale, the isba that there is in it, Ravcha, a profit, if he's going to have opportunity to make a good sale, he's going to use the money. Zavanbu, he's going to buy with it. He's going to use the money to buy with it. So for that benefit of being able to use the money, Have Alayu, he becomes on it Shemer Sachar, Shemer Sachar. And with that we conclude Chelek Aleph. Let's do Rashi's. Let's learn Rashi's. 2 lines down from the narrow lines in Rashi. Va'afilu nansu, and even if a oinus happens. Meaning Rav Huna says that this shulchani is going to be responsible like a shoyl, even if a oinus happens, is going to be chayav. Ka'amar Masnisin, the Mishnah is saying, the chayav b'achariyusan, that you're going to be chayav in the responsibility, even if a oinus happens. Va'afilu lo nishtamish ban, and even if he didn't use them. The mehashta, that from now already, have a shoyl alayu, he's considered a shoyl on them. Nansu loy, no, according to Rav Nachman, however, if it was an oinus, then he's not responsible. Calls man, as long shaloi nishtamish, that wasn't used, the whole time the shulchani did not use the money yet, loy have a shoyl, he's not considered a shoyl. Ella, rather, and what is he responsible on? Ella, only avdu dafka. Only if he specifically was lost, chayiv, then he's going to be chayiv. Kashemer Sachar, like the din of a Shemer Sachar. Now, in the question of Rava on Rav Nachman, the ish shoyl lo have a Shemer Sachar nami lo have. If he's not a shoyl, if he's not a shoyl, he's also not a Shemer Sachar. Zokt Rashi, why is he not a Shemer Sachar? Because ma Sachar natal, what benefit, what payment did he take al shminasam on watching them? He never got paid for watching it. Ella, rather, must we say, al shesamach aleim, on the fact, just because he depended on them, lahachlifam, to exchange them, ulihistaker, and to gain, im yavoy l'yadoi, if opportunity comes to his hand, if he gets opportunity to gain from it, he's going to be able to use it to gain. Atamachayvoy, you are making him chayiv just because of that, just because of being able to use it, you're making him chayiv. Where did it go? V'she'ela hizu, and this is borrowing. He's borrowing and he's able to use it. Shaharei kol hana shalei, because all the benefit is his. Ba'hi moedina. With that, I admit to you, Zokt Rashi, Afal Gav, even though the Amina that I hold, Lo have a shoyel mehashtada, he's not considered a shoyel from now, from right away, Ad sheishtamish, until he uses it. Moedina, I admit, the Shomer Sachar Hava, that he is a Shomer Sachar. The Hoyel Venana Mahana, that since he is benefiting, he's also going to give benefit, Laba'alim to the owners, and he's going to watch it better. And with that, we move on to Chelek Beis. But before we go on to Chelek Beis, we have some ideas Mukdamas. Number one is Hekdesh, money that belongs to the Beis Hamikdash. People dedicated money to the Beis Hamikdash, that's called Hekdesh. Number two, Gizbar. Gizbar is the person who's in charge of the money of Hekdesh. He's in charge of all the money going in and out. And Me'ilah is when you take money of Hekdesh, anyone who takes money of Hekdesh and uses it for something else. You're not allowed to. Okay? Money that's donated to Hekdesh needs to stay in Hekdesh. If you take that money and you use it for something else, that's called the Aveira of Me'ilah. Or we would use, like, this person is being Ma'il. He's doing Me'ilah. What happens if someone does Me'ilah? Then he needs to pay back a Choymesh, which, as we explained in class, it's basically like 25% of the original amount, which ends up being 25%, which ends up being 20% of the total amount. But anyway, not for now. If you got that, good. If not, you could listen again or figure it out yourself. And you also need to bring a carbon asham. Okay, so that's Me'ilah. Now we go back to our sugya. Rav Huna again says that if a shulchani gets untied money, he's allowed to use it, and therefore he's considered a shoyel on it, and even if oinus happens, he is going to be chayiv. Fregt Rav Nachman to Rav Huna. We learned a Mishnah in Maseches Me'ilah that if a gizbar gives money of Hekdesh money, he gives Hekdesh money to a shulchani, but he didn't know, the gizbar didn't know that this money was Hekdesh money. He thought it was his own money. So he gives the money to the shulchani. So if it's tied up, then just like we learned in our Mishnah, then the shulchani shouldn't use it. And therefore, if the shulchani does use it, if he did use it, then is the gizbar at fault? No, the gizbar is not at fault. Loy mal gizbar, because he was never supposed to use it. It was tied up. Loy mal gizbar. The gizbar is not moil. But what if it was untied? If it was loose, then the shulchani is allowed to use it. And if so, if the shulchani uses it, who's at fault? Who did me'ilah? Mal gizbar. The gizbar is at fault. The gizbar did me'ilah. So now, frekt Rav Nachman to Rav Huna. If Rav Huna, you tell me that the shulchani is a shayel from the first moment, the whole time. If you tell me that he's a shayel the whole time, then why does the Mishnah need to specify that the shulchani spent it? Even if he didn't spend it, he's a shayel the whole time. He's allowed to use it the whole time. So as soon as the gizbar gave it to the shulchani, already the gizbar did me'ilah. Why does the Mishnah need to say if he spent it, then he did me'ilah? As soon as he gives it to him, it's me'ilah. Right? He's the chashoyel the whole time. And for the Gemara, you're right. Rav Huna answered Rav Nachman, you're right. Hoitzi actually does not matter at all. The fact that he spent it actually doesn't matter. Even if he didn't spend it, it would be the same din. The gizbar was moil. The gizbar was moil right away, you're right. So why does it say the word hoitzi? Why does it say that he spent it? Says Rav Huna, because the Mishnah needed to say hoitzi in the beginning of the Mishnah, and over there it's part of the case, so he also said hoitzi at the end of the Mishnah, in the Seifa. But really, it doesn't really matter, hoitzi or not hoitzi, it doesn't matter, Ma'al Gizbar, the Gizbar was Moil. Why does he need to say it in the Reish of the Mishnah? Because in the Reish of the Mishnah, the case was that he gave it tied up, so the Shulchani is not allowed to use it. If he did use it, if he did use it, if he did take it out, then the din is that the gizbar was not moil. So since it said hoitzi as part of the case in the Reish of the Mishnah, so it also said hoitzi at the end. But really it makes no difference over here at the end. If the gizbar gave it untied, the gizbar did me'ilah as soon as he gave it, whether the shulchani spent it or not. And with that we conclude Sugya Lamed. Let's learn it inside. We are holding Esvei Rav Nachman L'Rav Huna, about approximately the middle of the page. Frag the Gemara, Rav Nachman le Rav Huna. Rav Nachman asked Rav Huna, hamafkid moitzes al shulchani, one who deposits money by a shulchani. And now when we're saying hamafkid, one who deposits, we're talking about the gizbar, the one who's in charge of hegdish money. Im tzrurin, so now if it's tied up, lo yishtamesh b'hen, he shouldn't use them. Lefichach, therefore, im hoitzi, if the shulchani spent it, if he used it, lo imala gizbar. The gizbar is not at fault. The gizbar gave it tied up, and the shulchani was never supposed to use it. So the gizbar was not moil. He didn't do meila. He didn't take the money out of hegdish. Ve'im mutarim, and if they are untied, yishtamesh b'hen, then he's allowed to use it. Lefichach, therefore, im hoitzi, if the shulchani did use it, Ma'ala gizbar, the gizbar is at fault, and the gizbar did me'ila. Now comes the question, V'i amrat, and if you say, says Rav Nachman to Rav Huna, if you're going to tell me afilu nansu, that the shoyel, that the shulchani is a shoyel the entire time, and he's going to be responsible like a shoyel, and even if a oinus happens, he's going to be chayiv, afilu nansu, even if he had a oinus. My area, what does it matter, hoitzi, if he spent it? Even if, afilu loy hoitzi, even if the shulchani did not use it, Nami also, it will be the same din. As soon as the gizbar gives the money to the shulchani and it's not tied, that means the shulchani could use it. Already then the gizbar was moil. And for the Gemara, Amar Lei, so he said to him, Rav Huna said, back to Rav Nachman, where do we go here? Amar Lei said to him, Hu adin, that would be the din. Hu adin, afagav, even though the lawyer said that he didn't spend it. You're right, that would be the same din. Hu adin, it would be the same din. If he didn't spend it, whether he spent it, he didn't spend it, it would be the same din. And so why does it say, if hoitzi doesn't matter at all, why does it say hoitzi? The Tana Reisha, and since it said in the Reisha, hoitzi, they used it, and it was necessary to say it over there in the Reisha, Tana Seifa Nami, the Seifa also taught hoitzi, they spent it. But really it makes no difference. Rashi, hamafkid mois, one who deposits money, gizbar, shehifkid mois, hegdish, that deposited money of hegdish, Kasavur, and he thought, Shein Shaloi, that's really his own money. Loi Ma'al Gizbar, the Gizbar did not do Me'ilam. Sharei Loi Bereshus Eitzion, because the Shulchani didn't use it with permission. Ve'enoi Shluchoi, and the Shulchani is not the Gizbar's agent, is not his messenger to use it. He wasn't supposed to use it. So the Gizbar didn't do anything wrong. The Gizbar wasn't Ma'il. Next Rashi. Mutarin, if they are untied. The Havolei Kenois Neshus, because it's for him as if he gave permission. It's as if the Gizbar gave permission to the Shulchani to use it if it was untied. V'havolei shluchai, and he is like his agent. It's like the Shulchani is like a messenger of the Gizbar to use it. It's like so direct. You can use it, sure, it's untied. Lefichach im haitzi, therefore if he spent it, Shulchani, if the Shulchani spent it, then Ma'al Gizbar. Then the Gizbar did me'ilah because he gave it untied. Ve'i amart afilu nansu, and if you tell me that the shulchani is like a shoyel and he's responsible even if a oinus happens, Rashi, Tana Masnisin, that the Mishnah learned, the chayev shulchani b'achar yusan, that the shulchani is chayev in the responsibility. If you're going to tell me that the shulchani is always going to be chayev like a shoyel, nimtza comes out. When did he become chayev like a shoyel? Misha sheif kidu etzloi. Sorry, when Nimsa comes out, Misha sheif kidu etzloi. From the moment that the Gizbar deposited the money by the Shulchani, Yotzu Mirishus Hegdish, they went out from the property of Hegdish, Uvo Lishus Shulchani, and it came to the property of the Shulchani. Vinasa, and it became Kimoisha Lovaloi, as if he lent it in, as if the Gizbar lent it to the Shulchani. Ve'enaitzah G'dayla Mizu, and there's no greater taking out, there's no greater expenditure, there's no greater taking out of Hegdish than this. My Arya Haiti, so what does it make a difference if he spent it or not? Where are we over here? What difference does it make if the Shulchani actually spent it or not? And for the Gemara, the Tana Reisha Haitzi, since he learned in the Reisha, if he spent it, La Shmuinan, to let us know, Revusa, the Chiddush, the Afilu Haitzi, that even if even if the Shulchani spent it, if it was tied up, Loi Ma'al, the Gizbar was not Mo'il, right? That's the Chiddush of the Reisha, but that was part of the Chiddush. We needed to know it. Tana, so since the Mishnah taught us that Haitzi, they spent it over there in the Reisha, Tana Seifa Haitzi, also learned in the Seifa that he spent it. And I hope this year helps you in learning the Sugya. We should be Zaycha to very soon hear a Torah Chadasha from Melech HaMashiach with the Gula Mitzvah Shlema, take it from Yad Mamash.